Is being smart always a blessing? What if your intelligence made navigating social situations harder, not easier? What if I told you that some of history's greatest minds actively avoided social interaction, not because they were incapable, but because they found something far more valuable in solitude? Today, we're diving into the mind of one of history's most insightful philosophers, Arthur Schopenhauer, to explore this fascinating paradox, the seemingly inverse relationship between high intelligence and a thriving social life. This isn't merely a question of personality quirks or individual preferences. It's about uncovering a fundamental tension between the demands of society and the needs of the intellect. We are constantly bombarded with messages that equate social success with overall success and happiness. Extroversion is often celebrated, while introversion is pathologized. But what if this relentless pursuit of social connection is misguided, even harmful, for those whose minds thrive on solitude and deep thought? What if the very qualities that make someone intelligent, their capacity for introspection, their sensitivity to nuance, their discomfort with superficiality, also make them less inclined to engage in the often frivolous rituals of social life? The pressure to conform to these social norms can lead to significant anxiety and a feeling of inauthenticity, especially for those whose natural inclinations lean towards solitary pursuits. By examining Schopenhauer's philosophy, we'll gain a new perspective on the relationship between intelligence, social life, and happiness. We'll discover how embracing solitude can lead to greater self-awareness, creativity, and intellectual growth, providing a pathway to fulfillment that lies outside the realm of social validation. We'll also explore how a heightened awareness of suffering, a key tenet of Schopenhauer's philosophy, may contribute to social disinterest among intelligent individuals, leading them to seek solace and meaning in realms beyond the superficiality of social interaction. This understanding will empower you to embrace your individuality and find fulfillment in life, regardless of your level of social engagement, potentially unlocking a deeper understanding of yourself and your place in the world. So, let's begin by understanding the core tenets of Schopenhauer's philosophy and how they relate to the human experience. You might be wondering if a pessimistic philosopher like Schopenhauer can really offer practical advice on living a fulfilling life, especially when it comes to something as seemingly positive as social interaction. It's understandable if you feel pressured to be more social, especially in a world that often equates extroversion with success, and perhaps even view those who prefer solitude with a degree of suspicion. But are we really antisocial by nature if we pursue different paths than the norm? With that in mind, let's delve deeper into Schopenhauer's philosophy and see how it challenges our conventional notions of happiness and fulfillment. Now, let's delve into a concept central to Schopenhauer's philosophy and crucial to understanding why smart people might find themselves disillusioned with the social world: the will. This isn't your everyday notion of willpower or determination. Schopenhauer's will is something far more fundamental, more primal. It's the blind, irrational force that drives all existence, the relentless engine behind every action, every desire, every striving. This will, according to Schopenhauer, is the root cause of all suffering. Is this a bleak outlook? Absolutely, but bear with me. It's essential to understanding the link between intelligence and social disinterest. Think of the will as an insatiable hunger, a constant craving that can never be truly satisfied. It's a force that compels us to seek pleasure, avoid pain, and perpetuate our existence. But here's the catch. The will is inherently self-contradictory. It drives us to pursue goals that, even when achieved, provide only fleeting satisfaction, quickly giving way to new desires and new sources of discontent. As Schopenhauer himself wrote in The World as Will and Representation, all willing springs from lack, from a state of dissatisfaction, and so from suffering. This endless pursuit, this constant striving, is ultimately futile because the will itself is never fulfilled. It's a Sisyphean task, an eternal loop of desire and disappointment. Consider the constant chase for social validation, the endless quest for approval and acceptance. We seek connections, build relationships, and strive for social status, driven by the will to belong and to be valued. But even when we achieve these social goals, the satisfaction is often short-lived. We find ourselves craving more attention, more admiration, more influence. The underlying emptiness remains and the pursuit continues. Intelligent individuals, with their capacity for deeper introspection and critical thinking, may be particularly attuned to this underlying emptiness. They may recognize the futility of chasing fleeting social rewards and find themselves increasingly dissatisfied with superficial interactions. So, how does this relentless will relate to intelligence, and why might smarter people be more aware of its influence? This brings us to the idea that intelligence, from a Schopenhauerian perspective, isn't just about processing information or solving problems. It's about a heightened awareness of the fundamental nature of existence, including the pervasive reality of suffering. Intelligence allows us to see the world more clearly, to perceive its negative aspects, and to understand the influence of the will in shaping our desires and actions. It's like removing a veil, revealing the inherent dissatisfaction that underlies so much of human activity. Is this heightened awareness a blessing or a curse? Perhaps it's both, but it certainly sheds light on why some intelligent individuals may be less inclined to embrace the often superficial aspects of social life. Schopenhauer believed that art and philosophy offer temporary escapes from the relentless grip of the will. By engaging in these pursuits, we can transcend our individual desires and experience a state of detached contemplation, finding solace in the beauty and truth that art and philosophy reveal. Intelligent individuals, acutely aware of the suffering inherent in existence, may naturally gravitate towards these realms, seeking refuge from the constant demands of the will and the often disappointing realities of social interaction. They might find greater fulfillment in intellectual pursuits, creative endeavors, or simply quiet contemplation than in the fleeting pleasures of social gatherings. But does this mean social interactions are inherently shallow? If that's the case, why do most people crave them so deeply? To answer this, let's introduce Schopenhauer's hedgehog's dilemma, a brilliant metaphor for the inherent challenges and potential pain of social interaction. Imagine a group of hedgehogs seeking warmth on a cold winter day. They huddle together for comfort, but their sharp quills soon prick each other, forcing them to move apart. They then get cold and huddle together again, only to repeat the painful process. The dilemma, of course, is that they need each other for warmth, but their closeness inevitably leads to pain. This is, in essence, the human condition. The hedgehog's dilemma perfectly illustrates the tension between our desire for intimacy and the pain of social interaction. We crave connection, love, and belonging, but our relationships inevitably involve misunderstandings, conflicts, and disappointments. We wound each other with our words, our actions, and our unspoken expectations. We seek closeness, but we fear vulnerability. Think about the last time you experienced a painful social interaction. Perhaps it was a misunderstanding with a friend, a betrayal by a loved one, or a feeling of being judged or rejected by a group. These experiences, however common, can be deeply wounding, leaving us hesitant to fully embrace social connection. Consider the lives of brilliant but socially awkward figures like Isaac Newton, who was notoriously reclusive and struggled with interpersonal relationships, or Albert Einstein, who, despite his fame, often felt like an outsider and preferred solitary pursuits. These individuals, while celebrated for their intellectual achievements, often found social interactions challenging and even painful. Their sensitivity to the potential for conflict and misunderstanding may have led them to prioritize solitude and intellectual exploration over the often tumultuous world of social relationships. So, how can intelligent individuals navigate this social world while staying true to themselves and avoiding unnecessary suffering? Is it even possible? The key, perhaps surprisingly, lies in embracing authenticity and accepting one's preferences for solitude. Instead of trying to force ourselves into social molds that don't fit, we can cultivate self-awareness and self-acceptance, recognizing that it's okay to be different. This doesn't mean isolating ourselves completely, but rather prioritizing meaningful connections over superficial ones, and setting boundaries to protect our time and energy. It's about finding a balance that allows us to fulfill our social needs without sacrificing our intellectual pursuits or compromising our sense of self. There are practical strategies for navigating social situations without feeling drained or inauthentic. Setting clear boundaries is crucial. Learn to say no to social invitations that don't align with your values or priorities. Prioritize quality over quantity in your relationships, focusing on building deep connections with a few like-minded individuals rather than spreading yourself thin across a wide social circle. Find alternative ways to fulfill your social needs, such as engaging in intellectual discussions, joining online communities, or attending events that cater to your specific interests. And remember, it's perfectly acceptable to politely decline social engagements when you need time for yourself. It's a sign of strength, not weakness, to know your limits and prioritize your well-being. Returning to the initial question, are we really antisocial if we live differently and prioritize our own needs and preferences? But where do we derive true meaning, if not from conforming to social standards? If social meaning is often superficial, where can we find true meaning and purpose? This is a question that has plagued philosophers and individuals for centuries, especially those who find themselves at odds with societal norms. It's easy to get caught up in the superficiality of social interactions, seeking validation and acceptance from others. But what happens when those interactions leave you feeling empty and unfulfilled? What if the pursuit of social meaning is, in itself, a distraction from a deeper, more meaningful existence? Perhaps true meaning lies elsewhere entirely, in domains that transcend the fleeting pleasures and shallow connections of the social world. Schopenhauer offers a compelling alternative. True meaning lies in intellectual pursuits, artistic creation, and the contemplation of eternal truths. He believed that these pursuits offer a temporary escape from the relentless demands of the will, that insatiable force driving our desires and actions. How do they offer this escape? By allowing us to transcend our individual desires and connect with something larger than ourselves, something eternal and unchanging. Intellectual pursuits, like philosophy and science, allow us to explore the fundamental nature of reality and grapple with the big questions of existence. Artistic creation allows us to express our inner selves and create beauty that can inspire and uplift others. Contemplation allows us to find peace and solace in the quiet stillness of our own minds. Consider Schopenhauer himself, who led a largely solitary life dedicated to his philosophical pursuits. He never married, had few close friends, and spent much of his time in quiet contemplation and writing. Was he unhappy? Perhaps in some ways, but he also found immense satisfaction in his work, believing that he was contributing to a deeper understanding of the human condition. As Schopenhauer wrote in his essay on the suffering of the world, the more intelligent you are, the more you will suffer. This isn't meant to be discouraging, but rather a call to seek solace in higher pursuits. His prolific writings demonstrate that lasting happiness isn't found in parties and social events, but rather intellectual freedom. We can turn to The World as Will and Representation, and see Schopenhauer's obsession with the human condition, which he investigated tirelessly. Intelligent individuals may be drawn to these pursuits precisely because they offer a sense of meaning and fulfillment that is lacking in social interactions. They may find that conversations about the latest gossip or social trends pale in comparison to discussions about philosophy, literature, or science. They may prefer spending their time reading a challenging book or working on a creative project to attending a social gathering that feels superficial and unfulfilling. Perhaps meaning comes in many forms, and what resonates with one person may not resonate with another. There isn't a one-size-fits-all solution to happiness, and we shouldn't pretend there is. But how does this pursuit of true meaning affect one's ability to connect with others who may not share the same values or interests? It seems like a life of solitary contemplation would be, by definition, a lonely one. Now, let's introduce the idea that intelligent individuals may struggle to communicate their profound ideas and insights to others, leading to feelings of isolation and alienation. This is a common experience for those who spend a great deal of time thinking deeply about complex issues. They may find that their thoughts and feelings are difficult to articulate in a way that others can understand, or that their perspectives are simply too different from those of the people around them. This can create a sense of disconnect, as if they are living in a different world from everyone else. How can you bridge the gap between intellectual understanding and common perception? Is it even possible? The gap between intellectual understanding and common perception can create a significant barrier to meaningful connection. Intelligent individuals may find it difficult to find others who can truly understand their thoughts and feelings. They may feel like they are constantly dumbing down their ideas or censoring their opinions in order to fit in, or, on the other hand, be seen as pretentious for sharing their insights. This can be incredibly frustrating, leading to a sense of isolation and alienation. It's as if they're speaking a different language, one that few others can comprehend. Consider the life of Nikola Tesla, a brilliant inventor who was also known for his eccentric personality and difficulty connecting with others. Tesla had a mind that was constantly buzzing with innovative ideas, but he often struggled to communicate those ideas to the world. He was seen as a visionary by some, but also as a madman by others. He spent much of his life in relative isolation, pursuing his inventions and grappling with his own unique perspective on the world. This is especially true today, as intelligence is mocked and disparaged by some. Sociological studies have shown that high intelligence is often associated with social awkwardness and a lack of social skills, leading to further isolation. This difficulty in communication can certainly contribute to social disinterest. Intelligent individuals may find it easier to withdraw from social interactions than to constantly struggle to be understood. Why bother engaging in conversations that feel shallow or frustrating? Why waste time trying to explain ideas that others simply can't grasp? It's often easier to just retreat into one's own thoughts and find solace in solitude. It also becomes taxing to mask who you are for the sake of social acceptance. This, however, does not mean all social interaction is inherently negative for intelligent people. So, while superficial social interactions may be unfulfilling, intelligent individuals can still benefit from selective social engagement and meaningful connections. The key is to prioritize quality over quantity, seeking out relationships with like-minded individuals who share their values and interests. This may require a more intentional and deliberate approach to building relationships, but the rewards can be well worth the effort. How can you identify and cultivate those meaningful connections? How can you navigate the social world without sacrificing your intellectual integrity? Intelligent individuals can prioritize quality over quantity in their social interactions by being selective about who they spend their time with. Instead of trying to be friends with everyone, They can focus on building deep connections with a few like-minded individuals who share their values and interests. This may involve seeking out intellectual communities, attending lectures and discussions, or engaging in online forums where they can connect with others who appreciate their unique perspectives. It's about filtering out the noise and focusing on the signals that resonate with your soul. There are some practical strategies for finding and cultivating meaningful connections. First, identify your values and interests. What are you passionate about? What do you care about? Once you have a clear sense of your own values and interests, you can start to look for others who share them. This might involve joining a book club, attending a philosophical discussion group, or volunteering for a cause that you believe in. Second, be open and authentic in your interactions with others. Don't be afraid to share your thoughts and feelings, even if they are unconventional. The more authentic you are, the more likely you are to attract people who appreciate you for who you truly are. Social disinterest doesn't have to mean social isolation. Intelligent individuals can still find fulfillment in meaningful relationships that support their intellectual growth and personal development. It's about finding a balance between solitude and connection, between intellectual pursuits and social engagement. The trick is finding a balance that works for you, one that allows you to thrive both as an individual and as a member of a community. What are the steps to take to ensure true individual fulfillment so that you aren't reliant on the perceptions of others? True fulfillment comes from embracing individuality, pursuing one's passions, and contributing to the world in a meaningful way. It's about living an authentic life that is aligned with your values and contributes to the greater good. Intelligent individuals, with their unique talents and insights, have the potential to make a significant impact on society, whether through artistic creation, scientific discovery, philosophical inquiry, or social activism. Don't let anyone tell you that you have to conform to societal expectations in order to be happy or successful. Consider the contrasting examples of Mother Teresa and a reclusive scientist who made a major medical breakthrough. Mother Teresa was known for her social activism and her tireless work helping the poor and marginalized. She found fulfillment in serving others and making a direct impact on their lives. On the other hand, the reclusive scientist may have spent years in a lab, working tirelessly on a project that ultimately saved countless lives. While they may not have been actively engaged in social interactions, their contribution to society was profound. Happiness is not found in social approval or conformity, but in living an authentic life that is aligned with one's values and contributes to the greater good. Individuality leads to the expansion of the species. What is the key takeaway here? But does a focus on intellectual pursuits necessarily equate to arrogance? Or is there a deeper reason why intelligent individuals may have different preferences? It's easy to assume that someone who prefers reading philosophy to attending a party believes they are superior, but is that the full story? Perhaps what looks like arrogance is simply a matter of differing values and priorities, a reflection of what truly brings meaning and fulfillment to one's life. Intellectual pursuits, such as reading classic literature, engaging in philosophical debate, or writing code, can be perceived as elitist or pretentious, particularly when pursued at the expense of more common social activities like watching sports, gossiping about celebrities, or attending casual get-togethers. The assumption is that time spent with others is inherently more valuable than time spent in solitary contemplation. How often do we hear phrases like, "Get your nose out of that book and come socialize," or "Stop overthinking things and just have fun"? These statements reveal a societal bias towards extroversion and a dismissal of the value of intellectual exploration. Consider the popular image of the absent-minded professor, a figure often mocked for being out of touch with the real world, and more interested in abstract ideas than practical matters. Or think about the backlash against fans of shows like Rick and Morty, who were sometimes ridiculed for believing that watching the show made them smarter than others. The very act of enjoying something intellectually stimulating can be misconstrued as a sign of intellectual arrogance. It's as if intelligence, or at least the pursuit of intelligence, is something to be ashamed of. This is a dangerous notion. This perception of arrogance, whether warranted or not, can create significant social barriers for intelligent individuals. They may feel misunderstood or ostracized by those who don't share their interests, leading them to withdraw from social interactions and seek solace in solitude. They might find themselves constantly defending their choices, explaining why they prefer a quiet evening with a book to a loud night at a bar. The constant need to justify their preferences can be exhausting, leading to a sense of alienation and a reluctance to engage in social activities that feel superficial or unfulfilling. Is this feeling of ostracization warranted? Is it simply a matter of perception, or is there a genuine disconnect between intelligent individuals and mainstream social culture? But does this mean that intelligent people are inherently antisocial or incapable of forming meaningful connections? Absolutely not. It simply suggests that they may find different activities more fulfilling and stimulating than typical social gatherings or small talk. The key lies in recognizing that there is no one-size-fits-all approach to happiness and fulfillment. Intelligent individuals may simply find different activities more fulfilling and stimulating than typical social gatherings or small talk. While some people thrive on the energy and excitement of social events, others find them draining and unfulfilling. This isn't a matter of superiority or inferiority, but rather a difference in personality and cognitive style. Those with a high level of intellectual curiosity and a thirst for knowledge may seek out experiences that provide intellectual stimulation and personal growth, such as reading, learning new skills, or engaging in creative pursuits. These activities provide a sense of accomplishment and meaning that may be lacking in more superficial social interactions. For example, consider the difference between an introvert and an extrovert. Introverts tend to gain energy from spending time alone, while extroverts gain energy from spending time with others. Studies have consistently shown a correlation between intelligence and introversion, suggesting that intelligent individuals may be more inclined to seek out solitary activities that allow them to reflect, learn, and create. A study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that introverted individuals tend to score higher on measures of cognitive ability and creativity. This isn't to say all intelligent people are introverted, but there is a demonstrable correlation. It is vital to not gatekeep any intelligence or personality traits. This highlights the importance of recognizing and respecting individual differences. There is no objective standard for what constitutes a good or fulfilling life. Each person must be free to pursue activities that resonate with their unique interests and values, regardless of social expectations. The pressure to conform to societal norms can be particularly intense for intelligent individuals, who may feel like they are constantly being judged or not fitting in. However, true happiness and fulfillment come from living an authentic life that is aligned with one's own values, not from trying to meet the expectations of others. But is our trust of happiness and fulfillment inherently a group activity? If we are inherently individualistic in our pursuit of meaning, how can we expect to find fulfillment in a societal standard? The very notion of a societal standard implies a level of conformity that may be antithetical to the pursuit of individual meaning and purpose. How can we reconcile the pressure to conform with the need to live an authentic life? This is a question that many intelligent individuals grapple with, often feeling torn between the desire for social acceptance and the need to pursue their own unique path. Societal expectations are, by definition, averages a reflection of what is considered normal or desirable by the majority. However, what is normal for the majority may not be fulfilling for the individual. Consider the pressure to pursue a certain career path, such as a high-paying corporate job, even if it doesn't align with one's passions or values. Or think about the pressure to get married and have children, even if one is not interested in those things. These expectations can feel suffocating, particularly for those who have a strong sense of their own individuality. Schopenhauer himself was largely unappreciated during his lifetime, only gaining recognition posthumously. His dedication to his philosophical pursuits, despite the lack of immediate acclaim, is a testament to the importance of pursuing one's own path, regardless of societal expectations. There are countless examples of individuals who have defied societal norms to pursue their passions and make a meaningful contribution to the world, even if it meant sacrificing social approval or financial success. Think of Van Gogh, who sold only one painting in his lifetime, yet is now considered one of the greatest artists of all time. These stories remind us that true meaning and purpose are not found in external validation, but in internal conviction. Societal expectations, while important to respect, can be easily wrong or misguided. This emphasis on self-awareness and critical thinking is paramount in navigating these conflicts. Question societal norms, prioritize your own values and goals, cultivate a deep understanding of your own strengths, weaknesses, and passions. This will allow you to make informed decisions about how to allocate your time and energy, and to resist the pressure to conform to societal expectations that don't align with your authentic self. After all, if societal norms are the average, what if being true to yourself takes you from a more rewarding path? But how can one maintain individualistic pursuits without isolating themselves? Is it possible to forge meaningful connection while remaining true to one's own values and interests? This is a question that many intelligent individuals struggle with, particularly those who have experienced the challenges of social disinterest. The key lies in finding a balance between solitude and connection, between pursuing one's own passions and engaging with the world around you. It's entirely possible to maintain individualism and pursue one's passions without becoming socially isolated. It simply requires a more intentional and strategic approach to building relationships. Instead of trying to fit in with the mainstream, intelligent individuals can seek out communities and connections with like-minded people who share their interests and values. These communities can provide a sense of belonging and support without compromising their individuality. It's about finding your tribe, those who resonate with your unique perspective and appreciate your intellectual curiosity. There are practical strategies for finding and engaging with such communities. Online forums, conferences, workshops, and volunteer organizations that align with your interests. These are great places to meet people who share your passions and values. For example, if you are interested in philosophy, you could join an online philosophical discussion group or attend a philosophy conference. If you are passionate about environmentalism, you could volunteer for an environmental organization. It's important to venture beyond your comfort zone and actively seek out opportunities to connect with like-minded individuals. Think of the importance of third places, places other than work and home where people can gather and connect. Meaningful connection is not about conforming to social norms, but about finding genuine connections with people who appreciate and support one's unique qualities and aspirations. It's about building relationships based on mutual respect, shared interests, and intellectual stimulation. Schopenhauer's message resonates here. Look inside yourself for the answers. By understanding your own values and priorities, you can attract people who are genuinely aligned with who you are. After all, that's all any of us want, a true understanding of our identity. Is this introspective behavior a hallmark of intelligence, and if so, where does it lead? Is introspection merely a common human experience, or does it represent something more profound, a hallmark of intelligence perhaps? The question lingers. Does a pronounced tendency toward introspection correlate with heightened cognitive abilities? It's a compelling idea, suggesting that deeper thought processes might naturally lead to a greater degree of self-reflection. But what if this inclination towards self-analysis isn't a choice, but rather a consequence of one's innate cognitive makeup? Consider how heightened cognitive function characterized by increased pattern recognition, abstract thinking, and efficient information processing naturally leads to more complex thought processes. Intelligent individuals often analyze situations, ideas, and even their own emotions to a far greater degree than the average person. They dissect, question, and reassemble information, constantly seeking a deeper understanding of the underlying mechanisms at play. It's not just about knowing what happened, but why it happened, and what it all means. Think of it as a mental engine constantly running, always analyzing and seeking patterns. But what fuels this engine, and what are the implications of its constant activity? Evidence from cognitive psychology supports this connection between intelligence and introspection. Studies on metacognition, or thinking about thinking, reveal that individuals with higher cognitive abilities tend to be more aware of their own thought processes, biases, and limitations. They are more likely to monitor their understanding, identify gaps in their knowledge, and adjust their thinking strategies accordingly. Research on the default mode network DMN in the brain, a network associated with introspection and self-referential thought, shows increased activity in individuals with higher intelligence. It's as if the brain is constantly looking inward, examining its own workings. A chess player, for example, doesn't just make a move. They analyze why they made that move, what the potential consequences are, and how it fits into their overall strategy. It's a constant cycle of self-reflection and analysis. But what does this have to do with Schopenhauer? Intelligent individuals, with their heightened cognitive abilities, are more likely to engage in introspection as a way to understand themselves and the world around them, aligning with Schopenhauer's emphasis on understanding the self. This tendency towards introspection isn't necessarily a conscious choice, but rather a natural consequence of their cognitive makeup. Their minds are simply wired to delve deeper, to question assumptions, and to seek a more profound understanding of existence. Does this deeper understanding lead to wisdom, or does it trap one in a cycle of overthinking? Does this introspection necessarily lead to Schopenhauer's coveted self-knowledge? Schopenhauer asserted that true wisdom stems from understanding one's own motivations, desires, and limitations. Self-knowledge, in his view, is not merely an intellectual exercise, but a cornerstone of a fulfilling life. It is a deep, unwavering understanding of one's own inner workings, a clear-eyed recognition of the forces that drive our thoughts and actions. Schopenhauer believed that the will drives human behavior, a blind, irrational force that compels us to seek satisfaction and avoid pain. However, through introspection and self-awareness, individuals can gain insight into their own will and its pervasive influence. This understanding allows us to make more conscious choices, to resist the impulses of the will, and to pursue a more rational and fulfilling path. The only way to truly know the world, according to Schopenhauer, is to know yourself, for it is through self-knowledge that we can understand the fundamental nature of existence. He stated, "A man can do what he wants but not want what he wants." Quotes from Schopenhauer's writings underscore the importance of self-knowledge in his philosophy. He saw art and philosophy as tools for self-discovery, as means of gaining insight into the human condition and our place in the world. He believed that by contemplating the works of great artists and philosophers, we can learn to understand ourselves better, to recognize our own strengths and weaknesses, and to develop a more compassionate and empathetic view of others. Think about someone who diligently journals their thoughts and feelings, constantly seeking to understand their own patterns of behavior. Intelligent individuals, who are more inclined towards introspection, are also more likely to seek self-knowledge as a way to navigate the challenges of existence, as presented by Schopenhauer. Connect this to the earlier discussion of social disinterest by suggesting that self-knowledge may lead individuals to prioritize their own values and goals over social expectations, causing them to be more selective about their social engagements. But is this constant quest for self-knowledge always beneficial, or can it have its downsides? Is this relentless focus on self-knowledge an infallible good? Excessive introspection can have negative consequences, such as overthinking, anxiety, and even analysis paralysis. While self-reflection is valuable, dwelling excessively on one's thoughts and feelings can lead to a state of mental gridlock, preventing one from taking action or enjoying life to the fullest. It's like getting stuck in a mental feedback loop, constantly replaying past events or worrying about future possibilities. Overthinking can lead to indecision and inaction, as individuals become trapped in endless cycles of self-doubt and rumination. They may become so focused on analyzing every possible outcome that they are unable to make a decision or take any action at all. The hedgehog's dilemma is amplified, as the fear of getting hurt leads to increased isolation. The constant worry about others' perceptions can become paralyzing, preventing them from engaging in social situations or pursuing their goals. Imagine someone who is afraid to pursue their dreams because they've thought too long about all the things that could go wrong. This overthinking can manifest in social situations, such as worrying excessively about what others think or avoiding social interactions altogether. Studies have shown a clear link between rumination and social anxiety, suggesting that those who are prone to overthinking are also more likely to experience anxiety in social settings. The fear of judgment, the pressure to perform, and the constant self-monitoring can make social interactions feel overwhelming and draining. The person may withdraw and self-isolate. They may avoid contact due to an expectation of pain. Is this constant and difficult self-analyzation and fear worth it? Intelligent individuals may avoid social situations not only because they find them unfulfilling, but also because they are prone to overthinking and social anxiety. The same cognitive abilities that allow them to analyze complex problems can also lead to a tendency to overanalyze social interactions, making them feel self-conscious and awkward. Excessive introspection can become a barrier to meaningful connection and social engagement. But what if there was a way to harness the power of introspection without succumbing to its pitfalls? Is there an opportunity to overcome the analysis paralysis? The key to a fulfilling life lies in finding a balance between introspection and action. Self-knowledge is valuable, but it must be combined with purposeful action to create meaning and impact. It's not enough to simply understand ourselves. We must also use that understanding to make informed decisions, set meaningful goals, and pursue activities that align with our values. Like a car needs both an engine and a steering wheel. Intelligent individuals can use their self-awareness and understanding to make informed decisions, set meaningful goals, and pursue activities that align with their values. Introspection allows one to be more present and focused during action, leading to greater efficiency and effectiveness. Knowing your strengths and weaknesses allows you to leverage your abilities and seek support in areas where you struggle. This allows you to make meaningful decisions while also understanding the reasons behind those decisions, as well as any issues they cause. There are practical strategies for balancing introspection with action. Set realistic goals, break down tasks into smaller steps, and practice mindfulness to stay present in the moment. Focus on the process rather than the outcome, and celebrate small victories along the way. Learn to accept imperfection and embrace failure as a learning opportunity. Artists use self-reflection to inform their creative process, constantly experimenting and refining their work based on their own internal feedback. Scientists use introspection to guide their research, formulating hypotheses and designing experiments based on their own observations and insights. Introspection is a powerful tool that can be used to enhance action. True fulfillment comes not from avoiding social interaction altogether, but from engaging in social activities and pursuing personal goals in a way that is authentic and aligned with one's values. Intelligent individuals can use their self-knowledge to create a life that is both meaningful and fulfilling, both for themselves and for the world around them. Even with social anxiety, intelligent individuals can contribute to the expansion of the species. But what are the broader implications of all this? What does it all mean? We're just scratching the surface of what this implies. As we reach the end of our exploration into the connection between intelligence, social life, and Schopenhauer's philosophy, it's time to reflect on the winding path we've taken, with its unexpected twists and turns. We've navigated complex ideas, considered varying perspectives, and grappled with questions that have no easy answers. But hopefully, this journey has provided some clarity and perhaps even a new way of seeing the world. In essence, we've discovered that intelligent individuals may sometimes find social pursuits less fulfilling not because they lack social skills, but because their heightened awareness of the world, amplified by the will, as Schopenhauer described, leads them to seek deeper, more meaningful experiences. We've seen how Schopenhauer's philosophy, with its emphasis on the hedgehog's dilemma and the importance of self-knowledge, provides a framework for understanding this phenomenon, and how embracing individuality and pursuing authentic meaning can be more fulfilling than conforming to societal expectations. What this means for you is the power to reframe your understanding of social interactions. Remember the initial question we posed: is high intelligence a gift or a curse in social contexts? We've seen that it can be both. A heightened awareness, combined with a preference for deeper connection, can make navigating the often superficial world of social interactions challenging. Recall the discussion about the illusion of social meaning, and how the pursuit of true meaning in intellectual pursuits and creative endeavors can provide a more fulfilling path. And remember the hedgehog's dilemma, that constant dance between connection and solitude. Finding the right balance is a continuous process of adjustment, requiring self-awareness and a willingness to embrace discomfort. This is not a static answer, but a dynamic understanding. But here is the ultimate insight, the one that ties everything together. True fulfillment doesn't come from conforming to societal expectations or achieving social success. It comes from embracing your unique nature, pursuing self-knowledge, and finding meaning in your own way. Social disinterest isn't a deficiency. It's potentially a sign of intellectual depth, a commitment to authentic living. Intelligence offers us a heightened awareness of ourselves and the world, and it's how we use that awareness that determines our path to fulfillment. It's not about what we know, but how we use our intellect. This brings us to a broader societal issue, the pressure to conform. From a young age, we are often taught to value social acceptance above all else. Introversion is often pathologized, while extroversion is celebrated. We are bombarded with messages that equate happiness with popularity and social success. But what if these messages are misleading? What if true happiness lies not in conforming to these expectations, but in embracing our individuality and pursuing our passions? Schools should encourage individuality, critical thinking, and self-reflection, rather than simply promoting social conformity. Consider the impact on relationships. Seek out connections based on shared values and mutual understanding, rather than social pressure. And so, if you've ever felt different or misunderstood because of your preference for solitude and intellectual pursuits, let me offer this reassurance. You are not alone. It's okay to march to the beat of your own drum. It's okay to prioritize depth over breadth, meaning over popularity. Embrace your unique perspective, pursue your passions, and remember that true fulfillment comes from within. Thank you for taking this journey with me, for engaging with these complex ideas, and for opening your mind to new possibilities. Now, as you move forward, consider this. How will you choose to live, now that you understand the potential benefits of solitude and the importance of self-knowledge? How will you balance your need for connection with your desire for intellectual stimulation? Will you succumb to societal pressures, or will you forge your own path, guided by your own values? Embrace your unique perspective, pursue your passions, and remember that true fulfillment comes from within. Thanks for looking.